So we're continuing to follow the outrage and the protests nationwide over the killing of George Floyd. In California, a state of emergency has been declared for Los Angeles County. Santa Monica and Beverly Hills will have citywide curfews beginning at 4 p.m. local time later on today. And this comes after the National Guard was deployed to Santa Monica yesterday. So KCBS reporter Tina Patel is in Santa Monica. Tina, you are on the ground. What are things looking like today?
Well, it's a much different story. Really, today is all about the cleanup. This is one of the businesses that was looted behind me. It's the REI, and you can see the city crews got here very early in the morning, started boarding up the doors and windows, and this is what we're seeing at businesses all throughout this area, all throughout this street. People were coming and cleaning up, not just the city crews, but volunteers coming with their brooms, with their spray bottles, trying to clean up the glass, trying to start to clean up the vandalism, the graffiti that we've seen. You can see there's a person right here. And these are all just volunteers that woke up this morning and seen what had happened in their community and said they wanted to do something. And that's what people today are trying to focus on, is moving forward from all the ugliness they saw yesterday.
There's been a spike, Tina, in looting across Los Angeles County. What can you tell us about officials' efforts to de-escalate? And is there any indication that some of those tactics are working?
Well, like you said, the National Guard was brought in last night, and I think the hope is that having more people here watching these areas is going to make the difference. We've already seen, as we've driven around, that there are soldiers stationed at some of the intersections outside some of the major businesses. I think the problem that we saw yesterday is that local law enforcement was really focused on one part of town where peaceful protests were underway. They were keeping an eye on that crowd, and then just in this business district a couple blocks away is when the looting started. So officers were trying to kind of get from one area of town to respond to this area, but really there weren't enough of them. This is a very busy business area, not only for people who live in this area. It's a couple blocks from the beach, so it's a very popular tourist area. So just so many businesses back to back, so many glass windows and doors that unfortunately were kind of easy pickings for people looking to take advantage of the situation. So what we saw yesterday was local law enforcement kind of overwhelmed. The hope is now that the National Guard is here, that maybe more of a force will help this from being repeated.
I think sort of part of the frustration perhaps for some protesters who came out early to participate in these organized demonstrations is to have, so much of the coverage later on talk about the looting and the violence that emerged. But like we've mentioned many times, all across the country, all of this stuff started, yesterday and the days before with very peaceful, organized protesters. I know that you've gotten a chance to talk to some protesters. What are they saying?
Yeah, I think they are very frustrated that their message and their methods are not really being talked about because now people are focusing on this. But some of the people that I talked to this morning are people that I saw yesterday taking part in those peaceful demonstrations. And they said they were going to come out here with their brooms. They were going to come out here and try to clean up because the people that lost so much yesterday, the business owners, the employees who may now have work after being out of work for so many months with the pandemic, they know how they're being affected. And they said, we want to be part of the change. We want to be part of the people that are uniting. And so we're going to come out here and we're going to let it be known to the community and also to the police. We're the good guys. We do want to bring about change. We have an important message, but we're not trying to hurt our own neighbors. We're trying to help. So that's what we're seeing this morning. It's very heartening to see just how many people, as soon as the curfew was lifted this morning, they came out on their own and are saying, we're going to try to help be part of the solution to this.
Los Angeles County Sheriff spoke with your colleague, Christy Fajardo, yesterday about where demonstrators are coming from. Let's listen to a bit of that.
That people are coming from other areas. They're even taking Ubers here and rental vehicles. So definitely they're not our local residents.
But from the greater Los Angeles area or?
Not even. Out of state, out of county. So, and other agencies have experienced something similar.
So, Tina, this has been something that has been much discussed in the press, where some of these protesters may actually be coming from, originating from. Do we know why law enforcement is so confident to say that these protesters are coming from other places, not local.
You know, unfortunately, we don't, and that's a question that we keep asking when we are talking to officials. The officials here in Santa Monica are going to be talking to the press in just about an hour, so we're going to be asking that question again. I will say that I only talked to a handful of people in the last couple of days, but everybody I talked to was from this area, maybe not from Santa Monica, the city, but from the region. And they said they'd seen what is happening in Minneapolis and other parts of the country. They wanted to let it known that they cared about this issue. They wanted to bring about change, and that's why they came to the protests that were being organized. But they said they were part of this community and they wanted to bring about the change in this community. So what law enforcement is saying is not what we've been seeing as we've been talking to people. It does seem to us that most of the people we're talking to are locals. But again, we're going to keep pressing those law enforcement officials to find out where they're getting that information and if people are coming, where exactly they might be coming from.
All right, Tina Patel, thank you so much for your reporting. We appreciate it, as always. All right, let's just remind you again, our viewers, CBSN, CBS News' 24/7 streaming digital news service has live local coverage of protests across the nation, so you can get the latest news out of Minneapolis, New York, LA, the Bay Area, and 6 other cities by downloading the free CBS News app and clicking on the Live tab.